What do you think about the back and forth between 50 and Marlon Wayans?
Marlon got his own opinion, just like everybody got, and he's gonna say whatever he want to say. But when you know somebody got a beef with somebody, unless you want to be a part of that beef or take a part of that, why you gonna get involved in it? But for Marlon to put out AI-generated clip against 50 in the hot tub with Puff, that's something whole different, bruh. But he said, oh, since 50 trolling, I'm a troll. Have that same energy when you see that man. Keep trolling when you see that man.
Hey, Marlon, have you seen that the documentary, the 50 Cent?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
For Diddy?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, man, you working
Everybody
hard.
telling me you got to see it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
Probably don't want to see it.
You probably don't.
Because it's all skewed, man. Like when you put stuff together, you create whatever narratives you want to, and at the end of the day, everybody being programmed. You know, right now the man's serving time.
Right.
You know, he went before the court. The court said this, and everything is God. But God said this is what he got to do. He got to do 5 years in pen.
All right, so I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I'm not here defending Diddy. I am here because I got dragged into this because somebody asked me a question and I had an opinion. Nobody's wrong for giving an opinion about any subject, period. I'm not here defending Diddy. Don't let the narrative fool you or get to you. Once again, somebody's creating narratives. This is my point. So please look at the whole clip that I did and then look what happens with the narrative. And that's what I'm telling you. Y'all people don't be sheep. Use your brain, use your freedom of thought, your freedom of speech, and don't ever let nobody bully you. Never. Don't let nobody bully you. You got me? Love. Now back to trolling this troll.
It started as a comment, not a threat, not a diss, just a few words that quietly set everything on fire. One question about 50 Cent's new Diddy documentary was all it took for Marlon Wayans to step into a situation that was already radioactive. At first, his response sounded calm, measured, almost protective. He said he hadn't even watched the documentary, said part of him didn't want to, suggested it felt wrong to pile on someone who was already facing serious trouble. That might have sounded reasonable in another moment, but this wasn't another moment. This was the middle of a cultural reckoning around Diddy, power, silence, and who knew what. And online, Marlon's words didn't land as neutral. They landed as defensive. And once 50 Cent noticed, there was no walking it back. Because when 50 feels challenged, he doesn't debate, he warns. What happened next pushed this from playful clowning into something far darker. And it all played out in public. 50 didn't respond with an interview. He didn't explain himself. He went straight to Instagram, where he's built a reputation for psychological pressure disguised as jokes. Instead of addressing the documentary criticism directly, he posted an image of Marlon in character, mocking him, telling him to keep his name out of his mouth. It looked light at first glance, but fans knew better. This wasn't humor. This was a signal. A reminder that once 50 locks in, he doesn't let go. Marlon could have ignored it, many people would have, but he didn't. Instead, he fired back. And that's where things shifted. Marlon responded with his own post, flipping the tone entirely. He brought karma into it. Morality. History. He suggested that when you mock someone during their downfall, that energy comes back around. He framed it as a bigger issue. Black men tearing down other black men. He positioned himself as the one taking the high road, but online, that message didn't land either. Because to the audience watching, it felt like Marlon wasn't just criticizing a documentary anymore, it felt like he was choosing sides. And once sides are chosen, 50 doesn't play defense. He escalates. Almost immediately, Zaras 50 resurfaced old clips, not random ones. Clips of Marlon himself talking about attending Diddy parties over the years, saying the now infamous line, laughing, joking, brushing it off, claiming he never saw anything strange, that he left early, that nothing like what people are talking about ever happened in his presence. Those clips spread fast, because context changes everything. What once sounded like harmless Hollywood talk now sounded different. Heavier, suspicious, especially with everything coming out about private events, NDAs, and how long certain behavior had been whispered about behind closed doors. And once that idea took hold, Marlon lost control of the narrative. That's when he jumped online again, trying to reset the conversation. He made it clear he wasn't defending Diddy, said he only answered a question, said he had an opinion, and that was it. He tried to shut down the assumptions before they spread further. But it was already too late, because once social media smells blood, it doesn't wait for confirmation. People started digging. Old interviews resurfaced. Blind items from the early 2000s came back into circulation. Long-forgotten rumors were pulled out and stitched together into new theories. Nothing proven, nothing verified, but that didn't stop the momentum. And this is where the situation crossed into dangerous territory. According to people close to 50, the posts weren't just jokes. They were warnings, subtle ones, the kind that don't name names but make the target understand exactly what's being implied. The word tapes started floating around. Not publicly at first, just whispers, screenshots, insider chatter, claims that 50 had access to footage from Diddy's private events, footage that wasn't meant to be seen, footage that could ruin reputations without saying a single word. No proof surfaced, no clips leaked, but the implication alone sent shockwaves through the conversation. Because in Hollywood, fear doesn't come from what's released. It comes from what might exist. And that's when people noticed something else. Marlon's tone changed. The jokes stopped. The posts felt tighter, more defensive. Legal language started creeping into the conversation. Mentions of lawsuits, threats of action if lines were crossed. To the public, that read as panic, not guilt. Panic. And the internet doesn't separate the two. Fans began asking one question over and over again. If there's nothing there, why scramble? That question fueled everything that followed. People pointed out that 50 wasn't yelling. He wasn't ranting. He wasn't explaining. He looked calm, almost relaxed, like someone who knows something others don't. That contrast mattered, because online confidence is currency, and 50 had plenty of it. Meanwhile, Marlon was being dragged into theories he never asked for. Old associations, old friendships, old party culture conversations that many people in entertainment had casually joked about for years suddenly felt heavy under today's spotlight. Even Marlon's past comments about supporting the LGBTQ community were dragged into the mess. Some defended him, pointing to his family, others twisted it into something else entirely. Not because facts had changed, but because the environment had. This wasn't about truth anymore. It was about perception. And perception online spreads faster than facts ever will. One tweet summed it up perfectly. It said Marlon never should have mentioned 50's name at all, that he inserted himself into a war that had nothing to do with him, that neutrality failed him the moment he spoke. Thousands agreed. It was about accountability. And silence, in moments like this, often looks safer than commentary. By now, the feud had fully escaped humor. This wasn't white chicks memes anymore. This wasn't playful roasting. This was two powerful figures circling each other while the public watched for who would blink first. And the most unsettling part? Nothing had actually been released. No tape, no footage, no receipts, just the threat, just the possibility. That's why people believe this fight is already over, even without a final blow. Because exposure doesn't always need evidence to do damage. Sometimes, the fear of it is enough. Marlon is now in a position where every past word is re-examined, every joke is reframed, every old clip is interpreted through today's lens. Fair or not, that's the cost of public conflict in the age of archives. 50, on the other hand, appears untouched, calm, almost amused, posting as if nothing serious is happening at all. And that contrast tells its own story. This feud isn't about Diddy anymore. Not really. It's about who controls the narrative. It's about what happens when you speak during a moment where silence might have protected you. It's about how quickly humor turns into threat, when egos collide and the internet decides someone smells guilty. And now, everyone's waiting to see if 50 actually pulls the trigger. Waiting to see if Marlon follows through with legal action. Waiting to see if this all fades away or explodes into something irreversible. Because if those alleged receipts exist, this isn't about rumors anymore, it's about exposure. And if they don't exist, then fear alone already did the damage. Either way, one thing is clear. This stopped being jokes a long time ago, and whatever happens next won't be funny at all. So now the question isn't whether this feud will cool down, it's whether it ever really can. Once words are said and implications are made, there's no rewind button. What started as a casual opinion turned into a public standoff where silence feels louder than explanations. One side looks unbothered, almost entertained. The other looks cornered, forced to clarify every past move. And that difference alone is why people can't look away. What makes this situation unsettling is that nothing concrete has even surfaced. No confirmed footage, no official release, just the suggestion that something could exist. And in today's culture, the threat of exposure often hits harder than exposure itself. Reputations don't need proof to crack. Sometimes, all it takes is doubt. This is also a reminder that not every fight is meant to be entered. Some battles grow bigger the moment you speak on them. The internet doesn't care about intent, it only reacts to perception, and perception spreads fast. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this situation fades quietly, or does it end with something leaking that changes everything? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want breakdowns like this that cut through the noise and keep you ahead of the story, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. More updates are coming, and you won't want to miss what happens next.